Homies, it's William here with another video. Hope you're all doing well. I'm here to talk to you today about the latest video released by the Life is Strange YouTube channel, Chloe and David, which is 9 minutes of gameplay following Chloe waking up in her room the night after the fireworks concert. Unlike the other video released a few weeks ago, this one actually has a few things we can look at and get some insight into before the storm. There's also been some videos released from journalists who were able to play Life is Strange before the storm, and they reveal a few extra details about this gameplay as well. I'll go into a little bit more detail about that later, but for now I just want to walk you through the video and we'll talk about a few important things, starting with story. First off, this looks like it takes place fairly early on in episode 1. We see the logos for Square Enix and Deck 9 and the name of this episode, Awake. Judging by this screenshot, it takes place at about chapter 2 after Chloe visits the firework concert from the original gameplay video. The important part from all of this is shortly after Chloe wakes up, she makes reference to Rachel Amber, but talks about her like she wasn't actually sure if it was Rachel.
Last night, seeing Firewalk live. Those skeevy assholes. That girl. Was that really Rachel Amber?
This could imply that they didn't actually know each other when Rachel steps in between Chloe and these guys, which originally I thought they did. So it seems that Chloe at this point has only heard about Rachel or has seen her around Blackwell, but they hadn't officially met until the night of the concert. Further in the video, we get to Chloe, who opens up a drawer to reveal some t-shirts that the player will actually get to choose for Chloe to wear, a new feature in Before the Storm. The t-shirts range from a crow t-shirt that we've seen in the past, a butterfly with a skeleton in the middle, which I guess counts for symbolism and massive foreshadowing, and a firework t-shirt that the player in the video opts for. In a separate video released by Eurogamer, they got to play a little bit of Before the Storm, specifically the starting chapter with the concert. They revealed that the fireworks t-shirt is only available in Chloe's drawer if she chooses to steal the shirt at the concert, which we saw in the original gameplay video. After choosing a shirt to wear, Chloe heads over to the door, and on the way we see these tantalizing options to look at and investigate objects in her room, a quality I really enjoyed in Life is Strange Season 1, taking my time and looking at every possible thing I could to learn what it is and what it meant to Max, and it looks like we can do the same here. Just before we move on, we can see a number of items in Chloe's room that gives us an idea of who she was at this point in her life. On top of the mirror from earlier, we can see a pirate hat, a little nod to the days Max and Chloe used to play pirates. There's a few more references to Chloe still retaining her childhood, like a lamp that looks like she's drawn over and that shark thingy. But we can also see that Chloe's punk phase has really started to take effect, with posters and magazines all over her room. On the very last shot of the scene, we can see two interesting things on Chloe's wall. This poster of a man that looks like the same person Max has a poster of in her room, although that's kind of a stretch. But what's more interesting is this picture of someone who resembles Max quite a bit. In fact, it looks like a picture of Max at the cliffside near the lighthouse. This, along with the pirate hat from before, indicates that Chloe still considers Max a part of her life in some way, even though she's already left for Seattle. Later on, we see our favorite Two Wells Diner employee, Joyce Price, who also seems like she has a different voice actor.
Finally, David's waiting. You'll need to bring him his keys from the ashtray. Try not to kill each other.
I've already talked about how I feel with different voice actors in other videos, so I'll just say here I'm not a huge fan of it, but whatever, it's a pre-release version, so... Anyway, we continue on and get a little bit of insight into Chloe's mindset when she spots a small mark on the wall where a picture used to hang, and she can't remember which picture used to be there. Which said to me just how disconnected she is from her own home, and how she's just trying not to think about her family or anything that reminds her about her family, since to her, William is still a part of that family. Or she could have just forgotten, I don't really know. Just to the right of that, we see an old picture of Chloe and Max playing pirates, which was a cute little nod and a little tease for players wondering what Chloe was going to say about Max, whether she remembers the good times or whether she focuses on Max leaving. We also see a bill from Blackwell Academy. Chloe's academic costs are rising and she makes a comment that her scholarship doesn't cover everything, probably adding to the list of reasons Chloe dropped out of Blackwell in the first place. It's kind of sad to see that she dropped out of a school she entered into with a scholarship she received because people saw potential in her. I'm not too familiar with the scholarships in America, but from my knowledge and a quick Google search, they're still a big deal, and it says something about Chloe that she's more than just what she lets on to other people. If only things had gone differently for her. Right after that, we get a look at the pause screen with Chloe's phone, getting a message from a girl named Steph, which looks like we'll be visiting later on in the episode. We don't know too much about her at this point. I'll leave this on the screen for a bit, but we can see it shares a similar design to the pause screen in Season 1 with some details relevant to Chloe. We can see some admission tickets, which could be for the Firewalk event, but I don't know if it looks legit enough to actually have admission tickets. I'm not really cool enough to know. One important thing to note here is the dates. Of course, we know Before the Storm takes place 3 years before the events of Season 1, but the thing that should be mentioned is that it takes place 2 years after Joyce and David meet for the first time. This will be important later on in the video, but I just wanted to point it out now. Later on, we see other messages, including one from this Elliot character. I don't think I like Elliot already. He's only got one L in his name and he just looks off. Like he's a little too old to be texting a teenager. Anyway, we also see text messages from Chloe's drug dealer Frank and of course Max, yet another teaser as to what's happening between them now. After the pause screen, we get to the real meat of the video, the interaction between Chloe and David. Just before Chloe goes outside, she looks out the window and makes a comment about David driving her to school.
I actually have to let this jackoff drive me to school. This is my life now. Kill me.
The important thing here is that she states that last bit as a question rather than a comment, as if David driving Chloe to school has never happened before. As the scene goes on, David and Chloe don't really have a friendly chat. Chloe is being intentionally difficult and David is ordering her around and trying to force a lesson about spark plugs. Afterwards, when Chloe makes her way to the garage, she makes a comment about David's stuff, and she's wondering why David seems to think he's moving in. This is important, and I think implies that David's relationship with Joyce and Chloe is going to play a bigger role in Before the Storm. They've known each other for about 2 years now, and from my knowledge, they are only dating at this point. God, that sounds kind of weird to say. So Chloe has only had David in her life in a minimal fashion for those 2 years, until now. David's driving her to school and leaving his stuff everywhere. Chloe can detect that change is coming and doesn't like it. I think a lot of the defining moments in the story for Before the Storm, rather than come from Rachel, might come from David moving in with Joyce and marrying each other. This is what will cause Chloe to drift away more from her family completely and become the punkish fuck authority Chloe we know today. Of course, I'm not really speculating, this is what generally happened, but it'll be interesting to see how Before the Storm handles this part of Chloe's life. Continuing on, after Chloe collects David's tools, David goes in for a fist bump, which leaves the player with the choice of accepting the fist bump or to leave him hanging. Before the choice is made, we leave him hanging indefinitely, which is the choice the player ultimately makes, and they have this awkward interaction. David puts the toolbox in the garage, they both get in the car, and the video ends with a bit of a cliffhanger. What did David want to talk to Chloe about? If I had to guess, I would say that maybe he wanted to talk about the fact that he's moving in. He might even allude to himself asking Joyce to marry him, in a asking for permission sort of way. It's hard to say, but I guess we won't have long until we find out. Anyway, to wrap up this video, I'll just give my general thoughts about it. My favorite part about the whole video is definitely the music. If there's one thing Deck 9 nailed about Before the Storm, it's everything about the music. Not just the song pick at the beginning, but the melodies and the main theme for the game have all been top notch. I really loved the music in Season 1, like, I never really listened to indie rock before Life is Strange, now I do. I never heard of Sid Matters or Jonathan Morelli before, now I do. I had never heard of Speedy Ortiz before, probably didn't even pronounce it right, but I'm really glad I have heard of them now. Secondly, Chloe Price's voice surprisingly didn't bother me in this video. I don't know if it's because I'm used to it now, but rather than listening to someone else trying to imitate Chloe, I felt like I was actually listening to Chloe.
What's David doing, leaving stuff in our garage anyway? Does he think he's moving in or something?
The dialogue, on the other hand, was a bit hit or miss with me, specifically that scene with David.
I'm supposed to get David his stupid wrench. What the hell has happened to my life?
I get that the relationship between Chloe and David is not perfect, with David trying to be a father figure to Chloe and she's not having any of it, but there's awkward fist bumps and then there's forced awkward fist bumps. Maybe I'm just alone on this and I'm just being a really nitpicky asshole, but I just didn't like this whole interaction. It felt unnatural, and maybe there was a better way to show their rocky relationship. It also didn't help that right after the fist bump, David utters,
"How you do anything is how you do everything."
Then right after does this whole in-your-face motion to Chloe before picking up the tools, placing them in the garage, and then laughing at William's tools. The same William who 2 years in a relationship with Joyce, she definitely would have mentioned how Chloe loved William. The same William that died in a fucking car accident, and you laugh at his tools in front of Chloe just after trying to have a father-daughter moment.
How you do anything is how you do everything.
I'm rambling at this point, but this whole interaction to me was just weird. Anyway, I really appreciate you sticking around for my rambling. Thank you for watching. I have another video in the works talking about 3 things I would like to see improved in Life is Strange Season 2, and at the same time I'm trying to keep up with any official videos like this one and any news that might pop up, so I guess that means some of my more in-depth videos get delayed, but I appreciate your patience and there will be more content on the horizon. Once again, thank you for your time and have a good day.